Hi, I'm Cortney. Welcome back to the Chickens Insight podcast, where we help you raise strong, healthy backyard flocks with confidence. I'm here with Tina, and today we're going to be talking about preventing summer stress through spring planning. Early summer is when small problems start showing up, and when we want to help you stay ahead of that. All right, let's get into it. So, Tina, what does early summer stress actually look like in a backyard flock?
Yeah, this is where people usually notice things shifting. You get possible, wing spreading, increased panting. These are signs of discomfort or stress. Water consumption going up quite a bit is another one. They don't tend to want to eat a lot, and their egg production can dip. If they're going to be crowding, like the shady areas, that's going to show you that there's some discomfort there. And then more agitation or pecking is another really, really big one for heat discomfort.
Yeah, you can tell that they're getting irritated from the heat. So, and by the time you see production drop, you're already behind.
So, Courtney, why is spring the right time to make adjustments instead of waiting until it's hot?
Yeah, because once it's hot, you're scrambling. Spring is the ideal time to make adjustments because it allows flock owners to prepare before extreme heat creates urgent problems. Much easier to modify ventilation systems while temperatures are still mild, giving you time to test airflows and ensure the coop is circulating air properly. Coop airflow improvements can't always be fixed overnight, so addressing them early prevents scrambling during hot weather. Spring also provides time to plan and install shade structures, which often take time to build and position correctly. So doing it in the spring, you're not rushed around in the heat trying to figure out how to get this shade up for your flock. So waiting until summer heat arrives can leave birds exposed while adjustments are still being made. Another advantage is the ability to elevate flock density before heat stress becomes a factor. If the coop or run is overcrowded, making changes earlier helps reduce stress on the birds once temperature rises. And finally, planning and setting up reliable water systems is much easier when conditions are calm. Preparing water, shade, and backup hydration plans ahead of time helps avoid emergency situations once summer heat sets in.
That's right. I mean, figuring all these things out ahead of time while the weather's still calm and the birds aren't stressed makes the whole season smoother.
Exactly. And that's proactive instead of reactive. All right, Tina. So how do flock size and breed choices impact heat tolerance?
Yeah, well, this is a big one. I mean, the first thing is overcrowding. If you added a couple birds because maybe you had a hatch over the season before and you're bringing them out, make sure that you have adequate space for that difference because that does really make a difference. Something to kind of think about too is that the larger bodied birds struggle more in sustained heat. And then coop design matters more when the birds are dense. So making sure that you kind of figure these things out before you get to the point where they're stressed and it's hot and things just aren't kind of flowing properly. Spring is the time to evaluate whether your space is working for your flock size. For example, if your coop is comfortable in April, that doesn't mean that it's going to be comfortable in July, and it likely won't be.
Right. So density adds stress fast.
Yes, absolutely. Even a few extra birds, like I mentioned, can change the airflow because there are just more bodies. So, and people don't really realize that.
Yep, trapping all that heat in. Yep.
Absolutely. And Courtney, what does a simple early summer readiness checklist look like?
All right. So a simple early summer readiness checklist helps ensure your flock stays comfortable and safe before temperature rise. Preparing ahead of time makes it easier to prevent heat stress and maintain a healthy environment for your birds. So we want to check ventilation openings, make sure vents, windows, airflow paths are clear and functioning properly so hot air can escape and fresh air can circulate throughout the coop. Identify reliable shade coverage, ensure there are shaded areas in both the coop and the run. Natural shade, tarp, or shade cloth can help keep temperatures down during the hottest parts of the day. Evaluate water placement and refill plans. So your water should be replaced where birds can easily access them and where the water stays as cool and as clean as possible. It's also important to have a plan for frequent refills during hot days. So they're going to be drinking a lot more. So how do we keep that water pan full? Remove unnecessary coop clutter. So extra items inside the coop can trap heat and restrict airflow. Keeping the space clean and uncluttered help maintain better ventilation. Confirm birds have room to spread out. Make sure the flock has enough space to move away from each other and find cooler areas. Adequate space reduces heat stress and allows birds to regulate their body temperature more effectively. So taking the time to check these simple items early in the season can make a big difference in keeping your flock comfortable and healthy throughout the summer.
Absolutely. Can't stress that enough. That's very well put. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. So, Cortney, early summer doesn't have to be stressful if you're planning in spring. Walk your coop this week and identify one adjustment you can make now. Small changes now prevent big problems later. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye for now. Thanks, guys.